Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. My name is Darrell, and we are here with some NBA 2K Mobile. Today, we're going to be ranking the top centers in NBA 2K Mobile Season 5, and this will include player rarities from Ruby to Pearl, and in most cases, the player's name will have the same stats for each rarity. However, there were some stat increase for a few players in Season 5. Now, there are a lot of centers in the game. There's about 59, so this list is going to be a bit long, but there's going to be a couple of tiers for the players. So we're going to start off with the centers that are ranked around 2.8 up to around 3.4, right? This is like the lowest tier. These are centers that will be on your squad. A lot of them are really good defensively and good for rebounding. So you could build around them, but you just can't rely on them for scoring, right? So we'll start off with the lowest rated center in the game, and that's going to be Joakim Noah. He's got a 2.8 stat average, and you can see a lot of his stats are really low. What stands out is just the 5 in rebounding and the 5 in defending. Next, we got the Ruby Boban Marjanovic. He's got a 3.0 stat average. He has a 4 in post scoring and a 4 in mid-range, which stands out, and the 5 in rebounding. Then we got Diamond Dikembe Mutombo, who I actually think is really good for head-to-head. And this goes back to the argument I had earlier. You just can't rely on these players for scoring, but he's got a 3.0 stat average, but he's one of the best shot blockers in the game, right? He's got 5 in defending, rebounding, and strength. He also has a 4 in post scoring and a 4 in layups and dunks, so he can get your putback buckets as well. So he's actually not as bad as his stats indicate, right? And that's going to be the case with a lot of centers in the game. And you'll see, I'll explain it for a few more. Next, we got Topaz Rudy Gobert. He's a 3.1 stat average. Again, great shot blocker, right? 5 in defending, rebounding, strength, layups and dunks, and post scoring. So if you're not shooting with these guys, you're fine, right? In most cases, you don't really need your center to shoot. But with the way the game has changed, the centers that can shoot usually are the top players in the league. We got with a 3.1 stat average Galaxy Opal DeAndre Jordan. I saw a video of him shooting threes the other day. Pretty impressed. He's got 4 in agility, 5 in strength, 5 in rebounding, 4 in defending, and a 5 in layups and dunks. Next, we got Ruby Robin Lopez, 3.2 stat average. His stats are okay. The only thing that stands out to me is that he does have a 4 mid-range shooting, so he could be good for the pick and pop. And we got Topaz Mitchell Robinson. He's got a 3.2 stat average as well. He also has a 4 mid-range shooting. He's got 5 in rebounding and a 4 in defending. Next is Jade Mason Plumlee coming in at 3.2 as well. His stats are pretty average. This player here is head-to-head cheese for sure. Him and Yao Ming, right? They're definitely head-to-head cheese. This is Manu Bo. He's got 5 in rebounding, 5 in defending, 5 in post scoring. But I'm going to be honest with you. He was one of those first centers hitting threes way back in the day. He's got a 3 and 3-point shot, but he really could have had higher because he was definitely dropping them. But his height is what makes him so incredible to use in head-to-head. He's an insane shot blocker. And his stat average comes in at a 3.2 as well. Next up is the Galaxy Opal Clint Capella. 3.2 stat average. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, so that's actually really good. 5 in strength and 5 in rebounding. Topaz Steven Adams. 3.3 stat average. He's got 5 in strength, rebounding. And aside from that, nothing else really stands out. And we got Topaz Nicholas Claxton, comes in at a 3.4 stat average. He's got some well-rounded stats for the most part. It's the shooting stats and playmaking that bring him down. Next, we got J. Derek Favors, coming at 3.4 as well. He's got a 4 in mid-range shooting and a 4 in layups and dunks. And across the board, he's got a lot of 4s. He also has got a 5 in strength. So he's actually pretty decent if you could ignore the shooting stats and the playmaking. We got Galaxy Opal Ben Wallace. Again, another underrated player for head-to-head. He's one of the few players that got a 6 in strength, but he's got 5 in rebounding and a 5 in defending and a 4 in layups and dunks. But he's really good. Like, don't sleep on the stats. Ben Wallace is one of the solid centers to use in head-to-head. And we got Diamond Zach Randolph coming in at 3.5. This is an underrated card, in my opinion. I actually used his silver card a few years ago when he retired, and I was balling out head-to-head. Like, the guy is really good, super underrated. Right? He's got a 5 in strength, rebounding, A 4, I don't know about that, right? This is a double-double threat for majority of his career. He's got a 5 in post scoring, though. That's something not to ignore. And he's got a mid-range and a 3-point shot of a 4. So Z-Bo could definitely get buckets. He's got a 2 in playmaking, so that hurts him, and that 3 in defending. And we got Jade Robert Williams comes in at 3.5 as well. He's got a 5 in strength, rebounding, and defending. And we got Topaz Yusuf Nurkic. He's also at a 3.5. He's got a 5 in strength, rebounding. The rest of the stats are pretty average. If you can ignore the playmaking and 3-point shot, he's not that bad, right? Because he also has a 4 in post scoring and a 4 in mid range. Now, this is the part of the center video that I hate every time because it gets really controversial here, right? Because the stats for these players don't do them justice. And it's kind of the same argument for Stephen Curry. These players are a lot better than what their stats indicate. But because I have to rank the players based off a metric that everyone can see and apply, I have to go based off of stats, right? Because not everyone has used every single player for gameplay. I certainly haven't. Some players I just don't touch at all. So it's kind of not fair to base the assessment on that. So it's kind of hard to just base it on the gameplay only. It's just easier to base it off of stats. But I will go on the defense of Wilt Chamberlain and a few other players. But these players are very dominant. You do want to use them on your squad, but you have to not ignore the fact that they can't shoot, right? So Wilt Chamberlain has a 1 in mid-range and a 1 in 3-point shot, but man, everything else is incredible. 5 in defending, strength, rebounding, post scoring. Like, he's a beast. The next argument could be made for my current center, right? I'm using this center, so like just to show you, like, I don't always go based off the stats entirely, but Shaquille O'Neal is the same argument as Wilt Chamberlain. But if you can ignore the fact that Shaq can't shoot, check it out. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, post scoring, strength, rebounding, and defending. Like, the dude is dominant. So if you got a Shaq, you do want to use him on your squad. But if you care about shooting, Shaq and Wilt Chamberlain just aren't the players you're going to choose, right? Next, we got Topaz Nikola Vucevic. He's rated a 3.6 just like Shaq and Wilt Chamberlain. He's got a 5 in mid-range shooting and a 5 in post scoring. So he can get buckets definitely under the 3-point line. And he's got a 4 in 3-point shot, so he could hit an occasional 3 as well. Next, we got Ruby Hassan-Whiteside. He comes in at a 3.6. He's got a 5 in strength, rebounding. He's got a mid-range of 4 and post scoring of 4. Next, we got Onyx Bill Walton. He's rated a 3.6. He's got a 5 in strength, rebounding, post scoring, and he's got a mid-range of 4. He's pretty average in my opinion. Now, this is another player who's elite in head-to-head. Stats is a 3.7, right? A little bit higher than the players I just named. Yao Ming has a 5 in strength, rebounding, 5 in post scoring, and a 5 in mid-range shooting. But he's a bit on the slow side, right? He does have a 3 in playmaking. With the right shoes, though, you can hook up Yao Ming, and he could be great for your squad for sure. Next is Topaz Miles Turner, 3.7. He's got a 5 in mid-range, 4 in 3-point shot. The rest of the stats are pretty average. He doesn't really stand out in anything else. But he's rated at 3.7. Next, we got Jay Jonas Valanciunas, 3.7 as well. He's got a 5 in strength, a 5 in rebounding, a 4 in 3-point shot, and a 4 in mid-range. So you see, like, players like this, because of those shooting stats, will have a higher stat average than Shaquille O'Neal. Wilt Chamberlain, it's been an issue in the game for a while, but it's hard to argue against the fact that, you know, these players could shoot, right? So they add more value to your team in that sense. But again, if you want dominant players, you know who to pick. We got Jade Brooke Lopez, also at a 3.7. He's got a 4 in 3-point shot, a 5 in post scoring, and a 5 in strength. Now, this player is a bit underrated, right? It's Onyx Bill Lambier. He's also got a 3.7, but he's a really good shooting center. 5 in mid-range, 4 in 3-point shot. He's also got a 5 in rebounding and strength. We got Topaz Serge Ibaka coming in at a 3.8. He's got a 5 in mid-range, and the rest of the stats are pretty average. Then we got Onyeka Okongwu. He's got a 3.8 stat average. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, rebounding, and defending. He's not really that great of a shooter either, but he has a 3 in mid-range and a 2 in 3-point shot. Next, we got Jade Elton Brand. He's rated a 3.8. Now, when he came out, I thought it was going to be a gem, but his stats were a bit low. He does have a 5 in mid-range shooting, which is really good, and a 5 in post scoring. Aside from that, though, he's got a 5 in strength, a 5 in rebounding, but a 4 in defending. And his playmaking is a 2. So he could be really good for your squad if you can build him out the right way. We got Topaz Dwight Howard coming at 3.8. He's another good player that's solid for head-to-head. He's got a 5 in agility, 5 in strength, 5 in rebounding, 5 in defending, 5 in post scoring, and 5 in layups and dunks. If you ignore the rest, he is really, really good. Next is Dark Matter Robert Parrish coming in at 3.9. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, strength, rebounding, defending, and post scoring. He's actually pretty good for your squad. Next is Onyx Marcus Camby. He comes in at a 3.9. 5 in defending, rebounding, strength. And then he's got a 4 in mid-range. And believe it or not, he's got a 3 and 3-point shot. And we got Topaz Bam Adebayo. I just showcased him in the player spotlight over the weekend. He's a 3.9. 5 in layups and dunks, 4 in mid-range, 5 in post scoring, 5 in strength, 5 in rebounding, 4 in playmaking, and 5 in defending. Next up is Diamond Alonzo Mourning. Another gem, 3.9. He's got a 5 in strength, rebounding, defending, post scoring. He's got a 4 in mid-range and a 5 in dunks. Jade Wendell Carter Jr. He's got a 4.0 stat average, 5 in rebounding, 5 in mid-range. Next, we got Dark Matter Patrick Ewing, 4.0 stat average. In my opinion, really good center to use in the game. 5 in mid-range shooting, strength, rebounding, defending, and post scoring. So he's actually pretty good. And we got Pearl Moses Malone, 4.0 stat average, 5 in strength, rebounding, defending, and post scoring. This is one of my favorite centers to use in the game as well, and that's Kevin Love. He's really good, I'm telling you. He's got a 5 in rebounding, 4 in mid-range, but a 5 in 3-point shot and a 5 in post scoring. Like, he can score a really good stretch big on your team. Personally, I like to use him. And we got Topaz Jarrett Allen coming in at a 4.0 as well. 5 in layups and dunks, strength, rebounding, and defending, and agility. Rest in peace. We got Pearl Bill Russell, 4.0 as well. 5 in agility, strength, rebounding, and defending, and post scoring, and layups and dunks. If you can ignore the fact that he doesn't hit jump shots, he is one of the top centers to use. Next, we got Galaxy Opal Al Horford, 4.0. I've always said Al Horford is a secret gem in his game. 4 in 3-point shot, 5 in mid-range strength. The rest of the stats are pretty good. Next, we got Pearl DeAndre Ayton, another gem, 4.1. It's got a 5 in post scoring, strength, and rebounding, and a lot of 4s across the board. Another one of my favorite centers in this game, Galaxy Opal David Robinson. 5 in strength, rebounding, defending, post scoring, and he's got a good mid-range. One of the best passing bigs in the game, Galaxy Opal Arvidas Sabonis. He's really good. Like, this guy's one of the top centers to use for sure. He's got a 5 in strength, rebounding, mid-range shooting, post scoring, and then he's got a 4 in 3-point shot and playmaking. So I actually didn't announce the tiers, but like any of the players from like Nicholas Claxton until Bill Laimbeer was the second tier of players that you can use them on your squad to grind, but you ultimately want to replace them for exception of a couple players. Like from Serge Ibaka to Arvidas Sabonis, those are players that you can use on your team. You can grind with them. You can use them in head-to-head. If you do find a better player, then you could replace them, right? Now, the next set of players for the center team, there really isn't like a GOAT tier, in my opinion. These are all like super elite centers, right? They all are really solid, and these are the best centers in the game that I'm going to start naming. So the first one's going to be J. Paul Gasol, 4.2 stat average, 5 in mid-range, 4 in 3-point, 5 in post scoring, strength, rebounding. Next is Karl Anthony Towns, 5 in 3-point shot, 5 in post scoring, 5 in rebounding, and layups and dunks. He's got a 4.2 as well. Next, we got Pearl Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 4.2 stat average as well. 5 in mid-range, post scoring, rebounding, defending, strength, layups, and dunks. Like, he's really solid. Now, this player is actually a gem in his game, and is one of the centers that could use a new upgrade. It could use a new card, but that's Christian Wood. He's got a 4.2 stat average, 5 in strength, rebounding, layups and dunks, 3-point shot, and he's got 4 mid-range and post scoring. So that's a Ruby gem. This is actually my favorite center to use in the game, but there are centers that are rated higher as far as stats. But it's Hakeem Olajuwon, 4.2 stat average. He's got a 5 in defending, rebounding, strength, post scoring, and a 4 in mid-range. But with the right build, he is so dominant and really elite. Next is a super hidden gem in his game, and that is Diamond Jermaine O'Neal, 4.3 stat average. He's got a 5 in mid-range, post scoring, strength, and rebounding, and layups and dunks. Next, we got Topaz Evan Mobley, who was another gem in the game. 5 in rebounding, defending, and the layups and dunks, and the rest of the stats are basically a 4. This is another Ruby gem in the game, and that is Wes Unseld. 4.4 stat average. He actually used to be higher, but they lowered his stats. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, mid-range, post scoring, defending, rebounding, and strength, and a 4 in playmaking. Now, he is a short center, though, so that's something to bear in mind, but this guy is so good. Next is a 4.4 stat average. Now, technically, these 3 players all have the same stat average, but here's a case where I can rank someone a little bit higher based off my personal experience with gameplay. Nikola Jokic would be number 2. He's got a 5 in mid-range, post-scoring, strength, rebounding, playmaking, 4 in defending. So he did get some stat increases this year. A 5 in shoot-off dribble and a 4 in 3-point shot. Like, Jokic is a beast. It's just my personal experience, though. He misses a lot of layups. And that really hurts, especially when you're trying to win the game in these events when it comes down to the last basket. So that, in my opinion, that's why I got to put Jokic a little bit lower than the top center, in my opinion. And that is Joel Embiid, right? Joel Embiid, 4.4 stat average. He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, mid-range, post-scoring, defending, rebounding, and strength, and a 4 in 3-point shot. I just think JoJo's a lot more dominant in this game. Better shot blocker, great offensive rebounder, reliable down in the post. That's just my opinion, but those are the top centers in the game. Let me know who's your starting center in NBA 2K Mobile. And I'm glad I've been able to complete this series where we ranked all the positions in the game. I might reconsider doing the shooting guard video, since that is the only video where I did a shorter video for that, and I didn't do the full breakdown for everyone. So if you do want to see the shooting guard video in full form, like a long video, let me know in the comments. And I could also redo the point guard video, because I did change the way I break down the stats once I started with the small forwards. So obviously there's more opportunities to make these videos for you guys if you want them, right? Just let me know in the comments. As always, I appreciate the support. I'll catch everybody next one. Peace out.